And welcome back, Leading Out fans, to an exciting debut of a new show here at Leading Out. Uh, I am joined by returning guest and my new co-host for this show, Gotzillard, and we will be debuting today our new show, Did Force Work? Um, Now, Zillard, for the folks at home, what the hell are we doing? What's going on?
Okay,
What are we looking at here?
so so I decided that I should make my problems everyone else's problems.
Very fair.
So so we're here to talk about this bit I have,
Hmm.
and that's that I'm the world's biggest fan of 90s comic book series Force Works by
Force
Marvel.
works.
Um, we will probably get into exactly what consists of that, but
Hmm.
just off the top, think West Coast Avengers,
Yes,
and you're almost there.
you're almost there,
Uh,
but throw in a little bit more Iron Man than usual, like a nice like extra cheese, but it's Iron
yeah,
Man.
sure. Uh, okay, yeah, it's gosh, we're gonna have so much to talk about whenever we actually get there, but
We
we're
do
not
we
there
do have a
yet.
bit of work to do. Yeah, we have a bit of build up. Um, Today we're going to be talking about one of the issues that leads up to Force Works, that being Iron Man 281. But before we get into that, I think it would be fun to sort of preview what we're looking at here. Uh, so, for those who may not know, Zillard has posted a lovely reading order of what she believes to be the ideal way to start and read Force Works. So, we're going to be using that as kind of a guide, and we're going to be going through these issues, seeing how the team comes together, and then eventually we'll get to the actual book itself and see how this merry band of Marvelites gets on.
Do
Uh,
you want me to kind of overview
yeah, if you
like
could.
my thought process on the Okay, so basically, I wanted to get I wanted to get the Iron Man and War Machine side of Forceworks, like all the drama that they have, because it kind of culminates in like an event between the three books.
Yes.
So we start with what is basically the first appearance, sort of War Machine. It's weird. Rhodey's been around forever, and he's also been in the Iron Man suit for a while, but that wasn't meant to be like a permanent thing.
No.
But basically, we're going over the first arc in which he really steps into that role and kind of gets out on his own and like moves away from being a supporting character like exclusively. Um,
Hmm.
and then we also have uh, the U.S. Agent miniseries.
Yes.
U.S. Agent, of course, is on West Coast Avengers, and we have sort of the transitional period from West Coast Avengers to Force Works on here as well. The Spider Woman mini, which I'm actually pretty excited to get to. I really want to know more about Julia Carpenter. The only thing I know about her is that she only ever uses psionic webbing in the show. That she uses to throw nets on people,
And
which
I
is
was going to say, I do want to talk a little bit more about the show, but I do want to hear more of your thought process. But I
I
trust me,
promise we'll
viewers.
get to it.
Trust me, viewers. We'll get to the show. Don't worry. We'll get to what should have been called Force Works, the animated series, but is not.
Yes. There's also Scarlet Witch,
Yes.
and then we start up kind of alternating between the War Machine title and Forceworks. I thought that having the solo Iron Man book would probably choke it a little bit too much.
Hmm.
Um, but I did want to make sure that we kept tabs on what Rhodey was doing, since it's not a lot before he actually gets reincorporated into the team.
Right.
Um, so I made sure he was present while we're going through. And then for the most part after that, after they do the big crossover, it's mostly just ForceWorks. Um, I will say ForceWorks is one of the titles that is in the crossing.
Yeah.
I might change my tune on this, but like I gotta tell you, I don't want to read it. I don't want to read the crossing. We're just gonna probably be the most confused that we've ever been trying to decipher what the hell is going on in
Yeah,
these
trying to
ForceWorks
parse the
issues.
crossing sounds insane, but we'll see.
We'll see. There's Century one
Yeah,
shot,
yeah,
which we
Century
will
one
get to
shot.
him. We will get to him, I promise.
Now,
Um,
now to clarify, when you say that, you're not referring to the recent uh, uh, Thunderbolt's character, Sentry. You're referring to a different character, just for the uninitiated.
we are not talking about the Century,
Mm-mm.
Robert Reynolds.
No.
We are talking about Century, as in 100 years, who
Yes.
is, to my knowledge, 100 alien beings that all merged into a sort of beef jerky like alien man. Um, if you can call him a man, he does have like 100 people inside him. I
Yeah,
feel
he's a
like that
hundred,
probably makes you a non-binary in some way.
and it's
Uh,
like that's like why he's so powerful. Is like, oh, he's 100 guys, I
yes, he
guess.
has vast and unimaginable powers that I would love to explore as we go forward. Maybe we should keep a track of what his powers are, what he could do.
I would love that to be a recurring joke. I know that at least from the show, of all the things he can do, he can't fly, which I think is really funny.
No, he can't fly. It's so odd. He's like
He could shoot like lasers, and he could like lift like heavy object. Like he's got most of the generic superhero stuff, but
he
then
bends
he just
like
can't
time
fly.
and space with his axe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
but no flight. Flight is too much.
No, I guess he maxed out all his skill points.
God bless him.
Uh, yeah. Okay. So then after we get done with all the mainline stuff, we do have some fun goodies at the end.
Yeah.
So Iron Man the animated series actually had
Yes,
tie-in comics
it did. The
by the
Marvel
name
Action
of Marvel
Hour.
Action Hour. Um, and the continuity on that, I'm sure we'll get to it when we get there, but it is funky. It is so
Weird.
strange. Uh, but they're effectively tie-ins to the TV show, but they can't be because
From what I
they're so
understand,
inconsistent.
from what I understand with my own independent research, is that yes, they were made to promote the show, but they are technically their own separate thing. And one of the biggest things, and I guess we'll talk about it when we get into how the show relates to the comic, is that John Walker, U.S. Agent, is in Marvel Action Hour, but he's not in Iron Man the Animated Series. So that's like one of the big
Yeah,
ones. But a lot of the issues are
it's
just
weird.
adaptations of episodes. So it's this weird. But we'll talk about it. We'll get to it eventually.
Yeah, it's so strange. And then I don't know anything about this. Do you?
Mm, ForceWorks 2020, right?
Yeah, the whole Iron Man 2020 saga. I don't know if
Yes. So if I remember correctly, it was like an event that tied into, I want to say, Christopher Cantwell's Iron Man run. It may be Dan Slott. I can never remember which one. But it has to do with the Iron Man of 2020, the evil one, because some genius at Marvel realized like, oh wait a minute, we're actually getting pretty darn close to 2020. We should probably do like something to celebrate that since Iron Man 2020. I wouldn't even say he's like a big villain, but like he's more recognizable than I don't know, like TechNet or something, you know.
He does exist,
Anton
and
Stark,
therefore we
right?
can exploit him for profit.
Yeah,
Arno, I believe.
Arno. Yeah, you're right. Arno Stark. Yeah, he exists. And 2020 hit, and Marvel was like, "Oh, wouldn't it be funny if we did something?" Um, mind you, there's a ton of other books in that whole thing. We're gonna be focusing on the Forceworks stuff. But if it doesn't have
We're gonna
Forceworks in
read
the title,
Iron Man and Forceworks.
yeah, like
Because it
Machine
seems like
Man.
Iron Man is the core event, and then we probably don't need all that other stuff,
You're
I
not gonna read
assume.
Machine Man 2020. Who's raise your hand if you've read Machine Man 20? I don't even
I
know.
It's firmly by my side. Okay, so that's kind of my thought process here.
Yeah.
Um, and I won't lie to y'all. We might be peaking very early on this list as far as quality goes.
Yeah. Um,
Because all told, uh, I've read the Iron Man War Machine arc, and I have also read uh, War Machine up to the Hands of the Mandarin crossover, and then the whole Hands of the Mandarin.
right.
So I'm missing a lot of this, but I am somewhat familiar uh, with about the first third of what we're going to be reading.
I think it's gonna be interesting to see. You know, this early stuff is pretty well read, right? You know, Rhodey's a relatively popular character. He's been in the MCU. He's been in several adaptations at this point. Um, so it'll be interesting to see where the more like when we start getting into the more Forcework specific stuff, and even more than that, when we start getting into like the later '90s, like post market crash, like we're doing anything to sell these things, like what ideas we're gonna see. I'm actually kind of excited. Actually, this is a good segue. Um, obviously you're coming at this more of an angle from nostalgia for the Iron Man cartoon from the 90s. At least
Yes.
for me, what I'm really interested about reading this stuff is that this is such an interesting time at Marvel from a historical perspective, right? They go from being the top of the market, they go from being the name that you associate with comic books to losing some of their best creatives for Image, to bankruptcy, to being bought out by Toy Biz. Like, this is a lot of volatile stuff that's going on at Marvel right now. And I think it's really interesting to examine how that affects the books and sort of how does this relate to the quality? How does this relate to, you know, we're going to talk a lot about cover gimmicks in this series. Like, that's going to come up a couple
Oh, heck
times.
yeah.
So talking about like that, like the rise and fall of like cover gimmicks. I'm not going to be pretentious and be like I'm like a historian when it comes to comic books, but it's like I don't know, it's something I find interesting, and it's something I'm excited to dive into as we get further along in this. Uh, would you like to talk about what angle you're coming at for this?
Okay, so Iron Man, I mean, he was never. Would you call him C or B list?
Let's be nice and say B.
Okay, so I'm a kid. I'm growing up in the 2000s, and
Ooh,
I'm infatuated with these 90s Marvel cartoons. I love
yeah,
X-Men, I love Spider-Man, I love Spider-Man Unlimited, which, oof, put a pin in that.
put a pin
One
in it.
day, one day. Um, I also love the Iron Man cartoon, which I think really colored a lot of how I see this character.
Mm,
Uh, because it's not good. It's not a good show. At least
it's
not the first season. The
not.
second
Yeah,
season actually gets a budget and like it's kind of cool.
it's got a
Um,
great theme song.
it has a fantastic theme song.
Mark my words, the
Um,
more I learn how to edit, I'm gonna figure out a way to get that in this somehow. I don't know if it'll be the intro, the outro. As my editing skills improve, mark my words, that will be incorporated somehow into the show.
nice. I'm very excited to see what comes out of that. But yes, it the Iron Man cartoon. It's basically it's what you imagine from those shows where it's like they take classic storylines and they adapt them.
Hmm.
But much like, I don't know, Gambit being in the Dark Phoenix saga in X-Men, we
Yeah,
have Horseworks being tacked on to all these Iron Man plots. So you have Hawkeye and Scarlet Witch and Julia Carpenter Spider-Woman
and Century,
and War Machine and our guy, our
the
favorite
goat,
guy,
the
Sentry,
goat, the goat.
who is just inexplicable when like you're just a child watching these things. Um, and of course, every episode's about the Mandarin because they can't get any other villains. We already
It's a
have like
very
Mandarin
He-Man
and
setup, right? Like Mandarin is like the big. He's like the Cobra Commander, like the Skeletor, and he's like sending out his goons, right? Who are called the Hand for
yeah,
some reason. They're called the
yeah,
Hand, not like the cool ninjas that we're all familiar with.
which
Um,
is what it's Whirlwind, Blizzard,
Modoc,
Blacklash, yeah, Modoc. Modoc's like his second in command, but then everybody
yes.
else is beneath him.
And AIM
And
presumably doesn't exist. Like we don't really see like
it
Hydra,
does in the
AIM.
second
Oh,
in
in
the
the second
second
season? Okay.
season. They're like the overarching bad guys.
Okay, that makes sense.
Um,
Oh,
but
Hypnosha,
also
the original
Hypnosha.
character. Yeah.
Yes, the OC, the the 90s cartoon OC Hypnosha, which I think she comes up somewhere in this. We'll get to it. But
Yes.
I mean, other than that, like Fin Fang Foom is there. I think maybe Titanium Man shows up once. It's a very limited cast of
Hmm.
characters. Um, and they didn't have any budget, so it's all just like insane nonsense. Even though like, writers you recognize are writing these scripts,
Oh
like
yeah.
I think it's really just like, oh, I gotta crank this out. I gotta do this line of cocaine and then I gotta just type
I
whatever
gotta go.
comes to
Okay.
me.
Robotic Fin Fang Foom doppelgangers. All right, go. One of them's
Sure.
silver, one of them's gold. They work for the Mandarin, but they don't. Whatever. Go.
There's okay, two of my like favorite moments in the show. The first one is it's like Iron Man's on this space station that the Mandarin has taken over because it's powerful or whatever.
Hmm.
And Forceworks shows up to help him after after Century is just like, let me stare into my axe and I'll teleport us all into space.
Hold
I'm
on,
like, okay,
fam. I've
buddy.
got you.
Yeah. so so they show up and like I want to say War Machine is crashing out because a little like plushy Modoc is controlling his brain that's like hiding under his shirt. It's weird. Um and so War Machine accidentally blasts the like artificial gravity so everybody's like, "Oh no, we're floating now." And Century is like, "Oh, hold on, guys. I just so happen to be like 3 feet away from the button that I've just stared into infinitude to divine that is the controls for the artificial gravity. And then he floats over just a little bit and presses the button, and we've burnt 40 seconds doing nothing. It's so pointless. It's
Yeah,
straight up
nothing.
just there to pad time. And I really wish that you could edit video into this because I'm telling you, the greatest moment I think I've ever seen is in this show where I don't even remember what Iron Man's doing. I think he's fighting a robotic duplicate of himself. But it cuts to a crowd shot
Oh, yes. Oh, here it comes. Oh, this
where
is a
for
great
like
scene.
almost a full minute, all of these civilians
Mm-hmm.
who will never show up again, they've never showed up since, before, whatever. They're just talking about the scenario that's happening. And there's this girl. I don't even remember what she says. It's insane. She just starts talking
Two
about
Iron Men.
Dumbo.
Gosh, I don't know who to root for. And then this like older woman goes, maybe the one maybe the one who didn't try to attack us, you Dumbo. And then the other
Yeah,
woman goes, ah, Dumbo's my favorite animal picture. It's
holds on them
insane.
for far too long.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't even remember the other thing I was gonna say. That one's too good.
My favorite animal picture.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's remarkable. It's all cinema. Um, but yeah, that's in short. I had a weird relationship with Iron Man because I watched that show and I'm like, okay, so it's this like weird thing. Got it.
He's got
And
like a
then
team.
yeah, and there's this like alien guy who I've never ever seen or heard of before. Like I don't remember seeing him in my Marvel Encyclopedia when
Yeah,
I
where
was a
it's it's
kid.
C for century. What the heck?
Yeah, what the heck? Um, and I won't get into this, but I had this Marvel Adventures trade. I had like two when I was a kid. One was a Spider-Man one that had like a Power Pack crossover that had Gurihiru art, which is why I'm
Ooh.
like have such a soft spot for Power Pack. But the other I had was an Iron Man book. And one of the stories in this Iron Man book is that he goes to the Bermuda Triangle and fights like subnautical cyborg pirates. And
Sure, why not?
yeah. So, and then the Iron Man movie came out, and I was like, what? You mean this guy could be cool? What? um, So yeah, Iron Man's such a like a strange figure to me because I got all the weird comic BS like front loaded. Um anyways, you could check my profile for context about all that stuff. But
Yes, highly recommend you go do that if you enjoy what we're talking about here.
I believe it's Marvel Adventures Iron Man number 5.
Hmm.
And I have a existential crisis in that review. Uh okay, so we should probably move on.
Yes. So now I think it's about time we transition into talking about the first issue. Um, now, would you care to provide a little context to the listeners about what happened in the prior issue before we get into this?
So, and I've never read the Avengers story, but the status quo for Tony Stark right now is that he went to space and his body was damaged in some way that is like debilitating, but he's not incapable of like being Iron Man or like doing his daily activities, if you will. Um, so we pick up on issue 280, which I won't get into the plot of. I very much recommend it. It's a crazy story. Um, Weird time travel thing. But basically, he's talking to Rhodey, who I suppose is his bodyguard. Uh, it's his official title. Um,
Caretaker, as Tony's doctor will refer to Rhodey in this issue, is caretaker.
Keeper, I
Yeah,
believe.
keeper. That cracked me
Yeah.
up. That got me.
Um, so basically, what happens is they're talking at his office about how he doesn't have a whole lot of time left. He's got like tons of like nerve damage, and it's like all of a sudden he just disappears at like a energy thing, and he goes and he has an adventure in the future. And at the very like the last page of that issue, he gets sent right back to where he left. But he spent like I don't know if it's days or weeks or years. The point is that he is spent. So he is just like burned through his body, and he has so
Mm.
much less time than he thought he did, and he just collapses. And that is, I believe, exactly where we pick up with issue 281.
So let's dive right into it. So we get a really dynamic cover. We have our new characters, the Masters of Silence, just absolutely,
They're
literally
serving.
pinning Tony. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm not gonna
yeah.
lie, I fuck with those. They're pretty cool. Um,
They're slaying, they're serving.
and then we get to I never know what to call this, like the first the interior cover. I don't know. Especially older Marvel love to do this, where it's like there's the cover, and then the first page usually has almost nothing to do with the story. It's more like a little, oh, what's happening?
Well, I mean, this is sort of a dream sequence. It's
Yeah,
it's not like a lie, like the first. I think it's like the first appearance of the penguin, where there's just like a big penguin or
hmm
something that does not appear in the story. But no, this is related.
yeah, and you get all these really cool visuals. Obviously, we have the Mark One. We have like the classic. I always call it the cat ears suit. With the little triangle
Oh,
things on
that's
his head.
funny. Yeah,
Um, the Mandarin, presumably Pepper, the woman with the red
I
hair.
that is what League has her listed as, I believe.
Okay. The Mandarin, Rhodey, and then who I can only assume is Deathlock in the
I
upper
believe that's a
left corner.
character from the previous issue.
Okay, that makes more
I
sense because I
think.
was like, what is Deathlock doing? I
Yeah,
mean,
I
like
know.
they hung out. Like I would say they're friends, but like I don't think Tony would be thinking about Deathlock and his
Okay,
dying.
I just flipped back in my trade, and that is absolutely the leader of the like future
Okay,
civilization he
cool.
hung
That makes a
out
lot
with.
more sense.
Yeah, he's basically his child in a way.
Okay. Yeah, so you get this cool moment, and then you get a very like meta dialogue or narration box where it's like,
It's
"Ooh, Tony's
Grant
having a dream."
Morrison.
Yeah, it's very Morrison. Oh, before we get too far, I should give credit. So this issue was written by Len Comiskey, with pencils by Kevin Hopegood. Bob Wieck was the inker, and then we
Waycheck,
had
maybe?
Wiecek, Michael Heisler as letterer, Mike Rockwitz as colorist, and then Neil Yomtov as editor. And we're currently in the DeFalco era of Marvel, which, in my opinion, has some of the highest highs and the lowest lows for the company. And I think this is up there on a high because I quite enjoyed this issue. I'll preference that
Oh, I
now.
love all this stuff. I'm so into it.
So then we
Okay,
move
so
on.
yeah,
Yeah.
we get like Tony. Yeah, we kind of described. There's like just a smattering of like visuals and characters.
hmm
He's like walking through what you would imagine a computer like physically, not like a
Yeah.
Tron, like walking through a computer. Like if you were tiny and you were walking through like the microchips and
It's very
processors and
Batman
whatnot.
Beyond. That's the main thing that's
Yes,
jumping to my mind. It's
it
very
is
Batman Beyond.
100% that. And so he's just like basking in all these visuals. until he gets this. What do you describe this? It looks like a frog,
Yeah,
sort of robot.
it's got like a tail, kind of like it's almost Godzilla. Like the smokestacks on its back are very spinal plate, and then it's got like a tail. But like
Yeah,
it's talking about so like the robot says like reconfigure, recombine, reprogram. You must tame the beast before it destroys you. And literally the text boxes are like, the giant machine has wrecked everything. Wow, symbolism. That killed me. When I got to the
yeah.
wow, I had to fully pause because I was like, this is just so like.
I love sassy narration.
I
I just
do
do.
enjoy it.
It's the easiest way to get to me. Um, and knowing what goes on, I would say this is thematically relevant. But it's probably pretty obscure if you don't really know what's ahead. Um, but yeah, and he has this crazy sequence where he's like, his armor like melts off of him
Mm,
like it's liquid, and then he gets like impaled through the chest, and it almost is like a very Venom-esque.
yeah, very Venom, very Alien, like he's. I mean, he says it. He's being betrayed by his own body, right?
Yeah,
I think
and
that
then
was
of
something I
course,
noted.
oh, go ahead.
Um, no, I was just gonna say it seems like a big theme. Yeah, like so the rest of the issue we're gonna get into it as the issue goes on, but like a lot of this issue is gonna be Tony like grappling with his mortality and like how much of himself as man and machine, and that's just really interesting considering where like Iron Man goes and where Iron Man has come from. You know, so I thought this visual, like this specifically the fact that the tendril is where the arc reactor would be, right? Like that's very
Yeah.
provocative.
Um, it's interesting you mention all that because I would say that those are like really powerful themes in 280 as well.
Hmm.
Um, I guess I'll touch on it a little bit more. I don't want to spoil the whole thing, but basically what happens is that in an alternate distant future, an alien race that's like primitive finds like Iron Man's dead body crashes in a ship on their planet, and then they base their entire society around his technology, and they worship him as a god, and they pull him into the future because there's basically two factions. There's like the science part of it, and then there's like the war part of it. And so he literally is helping the science overcome,
Hmm.
you know, the weapons, which I feel like is a very like on the nose, like, ooh, Iron Man, he used to be an arms dealer. I don't, maybe he still is. I'm not sure if that's what era
And
we're
now
in.
he is the arms. Whoa.
Yeah, but just conquering that, trying to atone for those sins
Well, and we're
effectively.
gonna get more of that in the issue with our big inciting incident. Um,
Yeah.
the only thing I want to add before we move on, this is these first two pages, you really get to see Hopegood pop off with the art. I mean,
Hmm.
the posing of Tony when he's like seething in agony, this giant creature, like the way the dreamscape is portrayed, it's just really like I would expect this from maybe something more heady, like an Animal Man, like you mentioned Morrison, like an Animal Man or a Doom Patrol. But to have this in an Iron Man book is really interesting.
Oh yeah, and it's. I'm not gonna say this is like Jim Lee or Todd McFarlane we're looking at right now. It's not like changing the industry, but this is fantastic house
Hmm.
style.
It's really good house style. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm such a sucker for all of this stuff. Okay, so So basically, Rhodey snaps him out of it, and we discover that Tony is currently in the medical wing of Stark Enterprises.
Stark Enterprise. Brody looks so cool.
Oh yeah,
He looks
yeah,
sick
he does.
with the haircut and the leather jacket. I'm like, damn, okay. Okay, Rhodey.
And I love the shading on his face in the bottom
Hmm.
left panel, where
It's
like the
striking.
background is red and half of his face is that same red. It's so fascinating. Just it's such a cool choice. Um, basically, then we get to meet this doctor character. I don't know if this is her first appearance. Let me see if. No, I don't believe it is. Um, you said that there was something here that you got a kick
Well,
out of.
the yeah, the fact that Dr. Sondheim's um, like I'm supposed to be your doctor, but what you really need is a keeper, Tony. And then Tony looks over at Rhodey and he's like, "That's his job." Um, and then Dr.
And
Sondheim
he
goes,
says it like he's like on his deathbed, like that's his
"His
job.
job." And then Sondheim's like, "If he's been letting you run around loose in your condition, then he's not very good at it. Maybe you should think about replacing him." Which is kind of insane because literally in the panel above, Rhodey's like, "If I didn't know the override code for the suit, you'd be dead. Like
Yeah.
you'd be
Like
kaput."
no, like and like, Rhodey's like probably the person I would assume that he trusts the most at this point.
Yeah,
So, yeah, it's just a fun little character dynamics there.
she's very Claremont Dame. I'll say that. We only get a couple panels with her, but I'm like, ooh, Claremont would have loved writing you.
Yeah. Because she's not giving them any leeways. She's like, no, you're gonna like rest or you're gonna die
Hmm.
effectively. Um so yeah, this is where you kind of get the sense that Tony's like, all right, I can't keep doing this anymore. I've got to like actually make some arrangements and like try and let my body heal. I
He's
can't be
like,
running off to the
yeah,
future protecting people that worship me like a god, I gotta rein it in a little bit.
so you get
Um
to like the next page and he's like, well, time to go take care of stuff, like I who knows how much longer I have left. It's time to get this will organized or whatever.
mhm.
um and then you get this great panel at the bottom. It almost looks like something out of a Frank Miller book. You get all these like shady guys in like a business room and they're like, look, Tony Stark's dying, this is great for us, this is good
Yeah.
news.
Um they have some kind of business speak about that, don't they?
Yeah, they're going to divide Stark Enterprises 6 ways between each of their
Yeah, okay. So they
organizations.
one of them says like this is an unprecedented opportunity, and the guy like giving them this presentation is like, yeah, each of us stands to profit enormously from this turn of events. Uh, and they're going to split the company 6 ways through. I don't know if we know exactly who all these people are. One of them's from Hydra,
Hmm.
and then Roxxon. I don't recognize Moriboshi International. Um, Rye National Commission, and then two people I'm uncertain about.
Yeah, but it's good because it sets some tension for later, right? It's like people are gunning I mean, it's a classic Iron Man setup, but like, oh, people are gunning for Stark Enterprises. The show uses that like almost every episode.
Oh, sure, it's always Justin Hammer.
I wouldn't be surprised if one of them either is Justin Hammer or is at least in lieu of. Also, Tony's chin in that bottom panel, I don't know if it's just the way it's drawn. It kind of looks like he has one of those like priest collars on. You know what I'm talking?
Um.
Can you see it in the like right next to the
Oh,
bubble
okay, yeah, on that page, yes, it does. That's weird. Why does it look like that?
Iron Man, man of the cloth?
Okay, so basically, um, like 2 days later,
Hmm.
we see that Tony's still trying to get like his affairs in order. Um, let's see, he says basically he's keeping his will secret from his lawyer, which is interesting, but also he's Iron Man, so I get it.
Whatever, he's
Um,
gonna iron his man.
yeah. And then we cut to a newsreel that's like, hey, there was a reactor meltdown in Japan, and then we cut to the office of the CEO of
Yes, Ray Takahashi of Akane Fusion.
yeah, the person who was in charge of the reactor.
Hmm.
And so he has a conversation with his secretary or whoever this is, and it's basically like, okay, there was a faulty part, and it was Stark Enterprises that supplied that part. And I'll let you take it from here because this is where the fun happens.
So, so Takahashi is like, um, is it like it's that classic trope of like the Asian character is more interested in the honor of somebody rather than like the financial gain or whatever. Because he's basically like, I might be ruined, but like I'm gonna make Tony Stark pay because he's not honorable, like he's evil. And his secretary is like, he's like the richest man on the planet. How are we gonna like? There's nothing we can do.
Yeah, like we
Um,
can't like fight him legally.
And Takahashi's like, don't worry, I've got connections in the Yakuza, and they hooked me up with some pretty cool guys. And you get this beautiful panel of him talking to his secretary, and the Masters of Silence are just chilling, like in the background. They're like red silhouettes. I love it. It's just,
Yeah, and they've got like scan lines on them.
uh
It
huh.
looks awesome. It's so cool.
I also love the little box. So he says, "I've contacted acquaintances in the Yakuza asterisk. That's the Asian mafia." you
Yeah,
know,
for those following at home, that's the Asian Mafia.
Which,
But
to be
you
fair, in
do make it
'92, most American audiences didn't know. It's just funny now, right? Is that it's like, so
sure.
what's the Yakuza?
And you do make a good point. Like, if if this guy was like any other race or nationality or whatever, they would not be harping on the honor thing. It
Hmm.
would just be like, oh, he ruined me, I want revenge.
Yes.
But instead, it's like, he ruined me, and the honorable thing to do would be to get revenge.
Well, and it gets more relevant when our titular Masters of Silence arrive. Um, and we're introduced to
Yeah,
the three Masters of Silence who are Inazuma, Kaze, and Kaminari, which is just the words lightning, wind, and thunder. Um,
high
Great
key,
designs. Great
high key
designs.
thunder, or rather Kaminari, is giving revengeance,
I like it. I like it quite a bit.
which is
Um,
great because that's what they're here to take.
I like Kaze's like he's got like a cyber eye patch kind of motif
Yeah,
going. I like that. And then Inazuma, it's almost like if you like you were given the prompt like, oh, draw Iron Man as a samurai. So that's kind of
Make
fun.
Silver Samurai if he were Iron
If
Man.
you were Iron Man. Um, and so Kaminari is like, oh, we already know what's going on, and we've reviewed it, and we're like, yeah, this guy doesn't have honor, and we only kill people if we think they don't have honor. So don't
Yeah,
worry, Takahashi, we'll do this for you.
they're honor-bound mercenaries, which, like, you know what? That's got to
Okay,
exist somewhere, I
sure,
guess.
sure, why
And
not?
my favorite thing, and this is so easy to miss if you're not paying attention, if you're just basking in this glorious art, they set off like smoke bombs, or they have like a
Yes,
smoke machine hooked
they
up
like
at
a
this
smoke
guy's
machine.
office, which
I would
is
love to think it comes out of the armor. There's like a little like hatch or something, and then it's just like, psh, and all the smoke comes.
yeah. And you know what I'm noticing right now is that all of their swords are
Hmm.
not their sheaths are not built into the armor. They have
No,
like cloth tied
yes,
around their like metal suits.
and then Kaze has like a chain or something. I'm not really sure.
Um. Oh yeah. Well, that's his weapon. We'll get to that
Yeah.
whenever
Oh,
we
but
start
yes, I
fighting.
remember this now. Okay. Yes.
But yeah,
Well,
these
and
guys
then
are so aura.
they're pretty sick.
And
I don't think they
basically,
show up in anything else either. I'll double check.
I don't, I don't believe so. I don't remember seeing them ever again after this arc, which is a real shame because I think like these would be cool jobbers to just like show up. Um,
If you would like some free league points, they don't even have character profiles,
that is true.
which is weird because they show up for like this whole arc, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I do think that this era of Iron Man, I think the Len Kaminsky stuff, like I almost never hear anyone talk about it, which is so weird because like this War Machine,
Yeah, it presumably
like
a lot of people have read it because they like War Machine. Honestly, they've probably just read 282 because that's
I
the
mean, and
one.
probably, but you know, I had to be the one to make a War Machine reading order. There didn't exist one before
Right.
that. So honestly, I think I'm just like a big War Machine fan in a world of people that like only really know him for like, team books.
Wasn't he the
Um,
guy who got his actor replaced in the MCU? Isn't
oh
that
my gosh,
crazy?
that is crazy.
BuzzFeed fun facts. Like, come on.
Anyways, back on
Yes, back on the
track.
grind.
Basically, they're like, "Hey, we uh we saw your message and we're gonna
You
do
have
this
much
for you.
honor. Yeah, you have much honor.
Do not seek us a second time."
That's so
And then they
ominous. Can we
disappear.
talk about that? You only get one. You only get one. It doesn't matter how dishonored you are. You only get one when it comes to the
maybe
Masters of Silence.
maybe that's why they never showed up again.
You only get one.
They're like, "We can only be written in a story one time.
Never contact us again. And
We're
you know
honor
what? I
bound."
relate to that. I've been in many a situation where it's like, I'll do this for you, but never bug me again. Don't test me. I respect that.
Yeah.
So then
Okay.
we're back
Yeah,
to
we cut
Tony in his
back.
bed.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
I
and
want
he's
to get your
calling. I don't know
perspective
this
on this
character.
conversation.
Abe? I'm not familiar with this character.
That is Abraham Zimmer,
Okay.
according to League. No other information is available to me.
It's so it sounds like based on their conversation, Abe is maybe um like one of the higher ups in Enterprises, somebody who actually, not just a pencils guy, like he actually knows some technical know-how. Um Tony is asking him to do something, and Abe's like, "I guess I can make it work. I'm not so sure." And then Tony's like, "You gotta go." And I think it was this panel where it really hit me. Almost every shot we've seen of Tony, we've seen this like IV bag next to him, right? I don't
Yeah,
know if it's
yeah.
intentional. It kind of looks like the Iron Man mask, and I think that's pretty cute. I like that
Well,
it's
I
the,
mean,
the
it's the colors.
right,
I mean, he's like literally his IV, the thing that's like helping like keep him alive is like
and it looks
it's
like Iron
red
Man. Yeah.
and yellow. I think that that's pretty fun. Um, but I think I don't know, it works a little bit more to me like a symbol of like this is why you're here.
hmm
Not so much that it's like keeping him alive. Um,
This is what got you here in the first place. Yeah.
yeah, and it's just like it's his shadow effectively just over him.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's a powerful. And we know, see, to go back to what you were talking about the benefits of like witty narration, we know to think about that stuff because the narration called it out earlier. It's like, wow, wow, symbolism. So it's like you're already
Yeah,
primed to think about that kind of stuff while you're reading.
yeah, that which is fun. Um, so then he gets a call. Here he calls Mrs. Abragast.
Yeah, strange name, but whatever.
Yeah, Arbogast. And he wants like a like a hologram recording system sent to his
Yeah,
room. Um,
presumably like a Princess Leia style, like "Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope," like a little like, "Oh, now you can listen to Tony." Um, I don't know.
Interesting thing about
Yeah,
this is I was actually reading a review from user Mirkala. Shout out. I don't
thank
follow
you,
them or
Mercala.
anything, but I was just reading them what their thoughts. And they had appreciated that we have a lot more of these supporting characters like in Stark Enterprises, like actually coming back in this issue because they've been gone because he's been in space and he's been in the future and he's been doing all this crap. And so the line about that Mrs. Arbogast is like, "Hey, it's nice to see you actually giving orders again."
hmm
Um, I think is kind of a signal to be like, "Hey, we actually want to deal with like the personal drama again after all that stuff that's been going on," which I think is like a fun nod to people that might have been missing that.
Well, and it's
Um,
also nice because it's like we've been doing a lot of setting up like what the conflict for this issue and the rest of the arc's going to be with the Masters of Silence and the guys trying to steal Stark Industries. So it's nice to get back to like more overarching sorry, um, a more like overarching uh plot. Well, no, I guess they're both
story.
plot. Yeah, story.
Um,
That would be a better word for it. Yeah.
yeah.
And then Rhodey's back, and he's got all the stuff, so Tony can freaking wear these VR goggles.
Yeah, he's gonna remote pilot the suit,
Yeah, the
which
remote armor interface.
all I could think about when I was reading this was Spider-Man Homecoming
Yes.
and how he's like, which is a whole can of worms, but I was just thinking like, yeah, I mean they were doing that kind of stuff in the 90s, but I mean we'll see that like he's not nearly as effective when he's not actually in the suit,
No.
which I think is a good way to like explain why he doesn't just always do this.
hmm
Also, Rhodey says, um, at the expense of maybe wrecking what's left of your nervous system, if you end up getting feedback from that thing, and then Tony cuts him off and says, then I die a day or two sooner. So it's, there's actual stakes. Like he's not just safe in his
The fact that
bed.
he's so resolved is a little bit chilling, in my opinion. He's like, yep, not much I can do
Yeah.
about it.
Well, I mean, you gotta think too. It's like he he doesn't actually like he wasn't allowed to keep his memories from the future,
Hmm.
but he might still have an understanding that like, oh, his candle is getting
Right.
it's getting right down to the bottom. So he doesn't have like a whole lot of time to kind of catastrophize.
Exactly.
And I think that speaks to his character because it's always like, anytime he's in a crisis, like he's just like, I just have to lock in,
Time to be Iron
you
Man.
know. Um, I don't know if maybe that tracks with like the demon in the bottle stuff. I've
Oh,
never
I
read
mean, I
that.
would
I'd like
argue
to
for
someday.
sure.
Um, but yeah. Uh, so
This next panel sequence might be my favorite of the whole issue. Just this page, because you go from like the armor, like lifeless on the table, right? And then it does like a very Frankenstein style, like the hand wakes up, and then it like lurches forward. And then the final panel on the page, I'm kind of obsessed with. It's very Iron Man season two, as we were alluding to. Like you get to see some
yes,
classic Tony forging. He's not
yeah,
building
he's in
armor;
the
he's
lab.
forging. He's got like a laser. He's got like,
He's hunched over blueprints, just scribbling.
yeah, great
Which
stuff.
I think it's fun that the first time we see him in this issue at least, like remote use his armor, he's just building stuff. He's not like getting into a fight or anything. Um, and I think this next page actually is fantastic too, because we cut to it says the main building lobby. Um, and this is great. We see this guy, the security guard, at a desk, and he's just reading the newspaper. And behind him on the wall, we see the shadows of the Masters of Silence. And then he kind of reacts like at a camera, um, and he sees them standing behind him on his video
They're
screen,
aura farming him. Like, Kaze's
but
got like
they're
his arms
invisible.
crossed. Yeah,
Yeah, but like they're invisible to his eyes, but not
yeah.
on the camera. So he turns around and he's like, "Hey, I know you're there. Like, let's just like." And then they slam his head on the thing. I assume maybe they kill this
Yeah,
guy.
he's probably
There's
well.
blood,
Yeah,
but like they're honorable. So like, would it make sense to kill him? I don't think so,
who can
but
say?
it doesn't really matter. It's just like it's a really horrifying sequence. Um, honestly,
They're setting
uh,
the Masters of Silence up to be a real threat, and I like that. They're not jobbers.
yeah, no, they're here for blood. Um, and so basically, we cut to Tony, who is still hard at work, but then he, gets an alert that some stuff is going down.
You get a great panel of just like Tony, like or the armor, I suppose. Like, meow, like very human rocket.
Yeah, and I
Meow.
love how he's like making his like fists in real
Yeah,
life
in real
too.
life.
He looks like he's ready to like box someone while he's like laying down on this medical bed. It's great.
And so while he's doing that, he's telling Rhodey, like, get everybody out of here. You know, we got to evacuate. We got to go.
Yeah. Um, and this is interesting. I wonder why they decided to make the Masters of Silence invisible if it seems like we aren't gonna do that bit for very long, because the sensors on his suit, and also, the cameras were able to detect them. I guess it was just a way for them to get inside and not like have a whole
Yeah,
thing about sneaking around. Um, so they decloak and they come face to face. Um, and we see that. Shoot, I forgot their names. I'm so
don't
bad.
worry, don't
The
worry.
green
Like,
guy.
he's Kaze.
Okay, the green guy has. It's like a scythe on a chain.
Yeah, I believe it's supposed to be a Kusarigama, but like it's got a weird. So one end is the sickle, that's pretty normal. But then what on earth is on the other end? It's like
It
a
looks like something that would be on a grappling hook.
yes,
I don't
and
know.
and then Inazuma. Yeah, Inazuma has like a cattle prod, like a spear,
Yeah, it's two pronged.
and then Kaminari just has a sword. But it's okay because he gets the coolest line in the panel because he gets to say, "Be warned, Tin Man, to oppose us is suicide," which is fucking sick. It's cool as
Yeah, I think these guys just like emanate smoke wherever they go.
hmm
'Cause like we never see them like deploy it. I think you're probably right. Like their suits are probably just farting it out.
hmm Maybe that's like, see, we think those little hatch things on their shoulders are armor, but it's actually just vents for smoke.
Ah, yes, yes.
So
Um,
then Tony starts blasting them, right?
he looks so dumb. We cut to a panel of him back in the bed, and he just got his hands out
He's
like
like,
a new metal artist, like a '90s thing, where he's got like his repulsor hands out, um, and
which is
it's not
all
doing a thing to
neural.
them.
It's all neural, so he doesn't have to do that. But presumably,
No, he doesn't. He's just getting in character.
they're beam proof,
Uh,
as he says.
yeah. Um, and honestly, they just grill him straight up. They're just absolutely trouncing this guy. Um, like they're all landing hits on him. Like it's Kaminari. That's the silver one.
Yeah, Kaminari.
Throws
Yeah, he's got remote
like a
control
remote controlled
shurikens.
shuriken.
What?
Uh, which like I don't want to even examine how that works, but it acts like a boomerang. Um, he looks so cool.
He's
He really
sick.
does have the Raiden jaw, the like
He
Revengeance Raiden jaw.
he's got the Revengeance riding jaw. He's got the snake headband, but then he's also got
Yeah.
this like he's got the classic samurai top knot. So
Yo,
it's
yeah.
it's a striking look.
And I really do think that the cloth belts add a lot to their
hmm
look. Because they're not just like guys in suits of armor. Like they have their faces exposed. I don't think we said that before. But then they also have that little touch too. Um,
It's
I
almost
really,
like they just keep upgrading their gear, right? Like as technology improves, they just keep upgrading their gear. But stuff that works, they don't replace, right? So it's like I don't need a fancy high tech
yeah.
belt. Like I just need a cloth, and I don't need like
Mhm.
whatever to hold up my hair. I'll just do a top knot. Like
And we
that's
should
pretty
note that
cool.
they all have two swords, one on their
Yes,
back
they have a
and
classic,
one on their belt.
and then so presumably Kaminari has three, then, right?
I would assume because that seems to be his primary weapon.
Yeah.
I would guess that his sword is special in some way. Um, I couldn't really tell you. Uh, oh, you know
Some.
what? I hadn't noticed this before.
Hmm.
It seems like they knock out his sensors so that they're back to being invisible to him.
Yeah, they do.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
Link's faltering, losing motor control, Like they're shredding this armor.
Oh yeah. It's Oh, so the green guy,
Yeah,
the
Kaze.
the grappling hook looking thing also catches on fire, so it's giving Ghost Rider a little bit.
Yeah, it has whatever energy their suits are covered in, presumably. Well,
Yeah.
and then
It's
Kaminari just he kicks him. Like Inazuma and Kaze are using like their weapons, and Kaminari is like, ah, forget that.
yeah,
Boom, crack.
I don't need anything. I'll just beat him up. Yeah. Um
Shoddy American workmanship. Sayonara, Tin Man. Great, amazing.
these guys go hard. They really do. You know what? Here's the promise I'll make to you, Joshua Williamson. You bring
Hmm.
these guys back, I'll give your series a shot.
Yeah, bring these back. Like, don't even
Masters of
explain where
Silence.
they've been. Just be like, oh, they've been silent. They've been invisible for like
They've been
30
literally
years.
invisible for like 30 years.
Why not?
Whatever. Um and then okay, tell me if you get this reference.
Hmm.
Um in the Bumblebee movie,
Oh,
one of
yeah,
the
I know exactly what you're
Decepticons
talking about.
gets wrapped up in like this chain
Yes.
and is like, haha, you don't have anything on me. This is what is this chain gonna do? And then I think they yank it and like his body just
Yep.
completely falls to
I
pieces.
know exactly. Yeah.
They do that to Iron Man here. Um
But it's okay because it's an empty suit, which
yeah,
Kaminari notes.
yeah. Um and so the Bastards of Silence are like right outside their door. And so he
Hmm.
just hits the self-destruct sequence on the arbor to distract them for like a second just to buy them time. You want to cover the
Yeah, so the armor blows up. They manage to escape. They get to his hotel room. Again, Kaminari leading with the kicks, kicks down the door, and then chucks his katana at Tony like a like a javelin thrower in the Olympics. Just shoom or whoosh, as
Yeah.
the sound effect says, and then it
Yeah,
hits
just
Tony square in the
absolutely
chest.
no, and there is no hesitation. Like
Yeah,
they see
shoo,
this man in a hospital bed and they're like, "I'm killing you instantly."
dead. And Tony laughs, and they realize, oh no, he's used that hologram technology that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Um, and there was a bomb that they left that Tony left for them,
Yeah.
and it explodes, and they jump out the window, and it looks sick. Um, and Rhodey and Tony are in a different lab, not the lab we saw earlier.
Yeah. See.
And Tony straps on himself what he refers to as the neuro booster unit, which will apparently like trick his nervous system into thinking it's fine. Like he can just walk like normal now for a bit.
Yeah. But it's like continuing the theme of like just shortening and shortening and shortening his life through various
Hmm.
different methods. Like this thing is going to fry him uh, if he misuses it.
Right.
Um,
And then he tells Rhodey, like, okay, Google, well, not Google, but like, find
yeah,
everything you can about these guys. Like, who the fuck are they? What do they do? What's their, what's the vibe? I got
yeah,
shit. I got to
and we
build.
yeah we touched on it a little bit, but it's like they're the masters of silence. He okay. Um,
You got to read this text bubble. It's so funny.
yeah, okay. So what Rhodey says is they call them they call themselves Masters of Silence, high tech samurai slash ninja slash kung fu type hitters. Okay. Um,
Where it is they got
and
some kind of psychic invisibility talent.
yeah, and so interesting theme is weird psychic abilities. One is that these guys are psychically invisible. Two is that I'm not convinced that Julia Carpenter has any other powers than she makes a net, a psychic
Right,
net she throws on you. I
right.
don't. I have sincerely no idea if she has more powers than that. I'm so excited to learn. She
Yes.
literally only ever uses that in the show. So I don't know. Um anyways, back on topic.
Do you think
Yeah,
whatever the Masters of Silence are using is connected to whatever Julia's got going on? It's the same. Like they went to the same school of psychic wizardry.
you think they're connected in the web of life and destiny?
Absolutely, absolutely. Which, speaking of
Okay.
Grant Morrison, I can't prove, but I'm pretty sure JMS ripped that off from Animal Man because they described the what Buddy uses as the web of life, and I was like, hey, wait a minute. Anyway, very off topic.
Yeah,
Um,
I've okay, so
real
and then
Bushido
he's like,
stuff that killed me when Hiroki said
yeah,
real
real
Bushido
Bushido
stuff.
stuff. But they basically what he's trying to impart onto Tony is like, hey, they have like some kind of old style code of honor. They only contract for targets they decide deserve to die.
Hmm.
And so, Tony's like, or I guess the implication here is like, okay, well, I guess we should probably figure out why they want to kill me.
Right.
Um, Meanwhile, Tony's in the lab again, as he does. And oh my goodness, I'm shutting out so hard.
This
I'm telling
panel
you.
sequence is so cool. So like the
Yeah,
first shot we see, it almost looks like a coffin that like the armor is like cooking in. It's like sizzling. Presumably it's cooling down after being in the forge or something.
yeah.
Um, and then
It's like glowing and steaming.
yeah, and then like we get the shoulder guns like clicking into place, and like the rocket launcher like getting ready, the little arm mounted um guns, and then you just
Yeah.
get this great shot of like Tony's head in the armor. For their sakes, they'd better be. This time they
Well,
won't be
that in
facing an
res-
empty suit of remote armor. This time they'll be up against Iron Man, and it's him in the full War Machine armor.
which just
It's so
if I
good.
haven't said it before, I mean the War Machine armor is my hands down. That is my favorite Iron Man anything. Anything is this 90s War Machine armor. I love it.
I wanna work from the top, and then like go down as we examine this whole thing. So immediately, let's start off with the shoulders, right? Two
Oh yeah.
different rocket launchers. Two different like.
Well, yeah, so the one on his right shoulder is very much conventional, I would say. But then
Mhm.
on the left looks very much like a Gatling gun.
Yeah, but with rockets,
And
and it's
it's
got
got a
like a little
scope on it.
scope.
Yeah. And I also love on the side of his head is that he has like a sensor, which I
Yes.
assume is like enhanced targeting. Um,
And we can kind of see, and we saw it earlier with the last page. The cannons on the shoulders can move around a lot. They're like on little tracks. So like yeah, he can have
yes.
them up like this, but he can also like have them on his back. He can shoot them like down. They're very like mobile. That's pretty fun.
Yeah,
Um
very lots of points of articulation.
oh, I like the buzzword. Uh he's got really cool like buffed up shoulders. They got these like fun big old chunks on them.
Yeah, there's so
Uh
much like tech garbage on here that just looks fun.
I love the Greeblies. And then so then
He's
we
got
get
like
down to his
cool
hands.
like abs,
Oh, his
sort
abs,
of.
yeah. They almost look like
Um,
they could like shunk up, and then you can like see his like actual abs. You know, like it almost looks like a
yeah,
garage door.
you think those are like on hinges? That would
I don't
actually make a lot
know.
of sense for him to like
Maybe.
crunch forward. That would, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I could see that.
Okay, his hands.
Yes, let's get to the
On
hands.
If I'm not mistaken, and this may be the movies speaking, one hand looks very inconspicuous, but I believe that's where like a wrist-mounted laser is.
It's either a laser or a flamethrower. I can never. I think it depends on what. Because I know in the Capcom games it's a flamethrower.
Ooh, nice.
Um, and he
But
also
then on
on
his
that hand has
other,
like. But wait, before we move on, he
oh,
has like
okay,
a
okay.
spiked knuckle, like a knuckle duster on that glove. You
Oh
see
yeah,
what I'm
he
talking about?
does.
Like
Yeah.
you were talking Ghost Rider. That's so Ghost Rider.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Just that's great.
Sure, why not?
Of course.
But yeah, and
Um,
then the other arm is like your classic boom laser cannons on my arm. Because why not?
yeah, just like two just jutting out in front. Um, he is armed to the teeth, and this is something I'm only just noticing. He has pouches.
Yes, he does have classic 90s pouches.
He has 90s pouches. What's
Presumably
in
full of
there?
bullets. Presumably full of bullets to reload
Well,
his
I mean, I guess you
equipment.
have to assume is that they're like ammo packs because he has so much many more like actual projectiles he's shooting that aren't just
Yes,
energy blasts.
the energy
Um,
blast, the supersonic speed. Is he down with the force works? Oh, yes, indeed.
I don't know what that was.
And
But
then of course
impressed.
we got to talk about the color palette, right?
Oh
Probably
yeah,
the biggest like draw I'd say to this design. It's the
real like.
stark black and white, later
Mm,
silver. Uh, I really like the blue highlights that the colorist does for like the arms and the shoulders.
they're subtle, but it definitely adds a lot.
It's just such a
Yeah, and
look. It's such a
it's so
striking look.
shiny.
It's shiny.
Um, and I don't want to spoil anything,
Hmm.
but this armor is actually really funny. Just the way that it gets used and the way that it's employed.
Well, if I'm
Um,
understanding right, and you don't have to tell me if I'm on. I'll wait till I read the next issue. But from my understanding, the implication is like, oh no, my repulsor technology didn't work against these guys. Better use like actual bullets and rockets on them. Because what else am I gonna do? And that's
you know,
funny,
I didn't put that together this time, but honestly, it's been so long I couldn't tell you if that's the idea or
right?
not. But that's a really good point. Um, but yeah, he just like he just has he's got so many weapons on him.
He's got so many weapons. He's probably got weapons we don't even see. I will say what's always interesting, and it makes sense from a like, especially when Rhodey starts using it. But like, it's interesting to see an Iron Man armor that doesn't have like a circle or a square arc reactor in the middle of it. You know, he has a very plain chest in comparison. But I think that that's part of what makes it unique. You know.
Yeah, and I like the I do like the detailing that's there.
Hmm.
It's not like in your face, but it's fun to look at, and just kind of examine.
And that brings us to the end of the issue. Um, I'll say this: I didn't have the highest expectations going in. I will be very forward. You know, I thought 90s. I thought Iron Man. That's a lot of words that don't always evoke the most positive feelings in me.
Sure.
Um, but I really liked this issue. Um, you know, slightly racially problematic, definitely of its time. But also, I think the what it's doing with Tony's story was really interesting. I think the visuals are amazing, such striking visuals. Um,
Yeah.
and then also the fact that like the, this is something I harp on a lot, but like I love superhero material that's like maybe being a superhero isn't all it's cracked up to be. Maybe like eh, like things could be better. Like it's not all
Yeah.
glitz and glamour and sunshine and
I would
rainbows.
say most every Iron Man story I've ever read has just been him suffering the whole
It's like
time.
this sucks.
And I mean, honestly, if that's not what we got here, I don't know what is. But I appreciate some corporate espionage. I'm a Spider-Man 2099 fan, which that's all in that book. But yeah, it's I feel like it's not terribly dense, but a lot does happen.
Hmm.
And I appreciate that. It's pretty straightforward, but there is some to chew on. Certainly, especially with like that opening sequence. It's beautiful. Uh, but yeah, do we gotta ask our soon to be
So
iconic
yeah,
question?
this will be the debut of our iconic question, the question of the series. Did Force work in this issue? And I'm not gonna lie, I would argue this was the first tally for no. You
I
know,
would say that the Masters of Silence effectively employed force, but
yes,
not so much Tony.
not so much Tony, and also, and this might be getting a little preachy, but like, you know, killing Tony doesn't bring back the guys that died in the nuclear power plant disaster, and like
Sure.
presumably that's going to be the moral of the arc about like revenge and that sort of thing. I guess we'll see um, as things go along. You know what? Yeah, I will agree though. I mean, the Masters of Silence were just they were making force work all over the place.
Oh yeah, they're the MVPs so far. I mean, come on.
Bring him back, Joshua Williamson. Bring him back, and
I'm
then
looking
do
at you.
Masters of Silence spinoff, like a 5-issue Masters of Silence spinoff.
Oh my gosh, I would actually pull that. I would actually pull that.
I would pull that. Um,
Um, I don't know that we called this out, but I want to say it was like what, like over like 50 people died in that reactor
yeah,
explosion
it's pretty
or
big.
meltdown,
Well,
whatever.
and then it's kind of striking because they're like, oh, this is the worst nuclear disaster in the history of Japan, which obviously very loaded statement to make. And then obvious,
Yeah,
since this issue was written, there was the real life disaster at the Fukushima power plant in 2014, I want to say 2015, which
ooh,
is
yeah.
scarily similar to what was described in this issue. I'm not a conspiracy
Hmm.
theorist. I'm not saying it predicted it, but it is just interesting that it's a way that the issue has almost become more relevant from when it was initially written.
Yeah, that is a good point. But okay, yeah. So force did not work.
Force did not work.
Definitively. Uh, I guess from the point of view of the main character, we gotta keep a tally of this or something.
Yeah, I'll include this in my for folks at home. I am actively keeping a notes list for every issue that we read through to show you my commitment um, to this brand, to these characters.
Yeah.
Did Force work? Yes. Or no. We decided on no. So that's
No.
no, one,
So
yes, the zero.
naturally, I mean, obviously, you enjoyed this a lot, but tell me where your head's at
Um,
going forward.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see more of the War Machine stuff. I would say I'm right there with you, where I actually quite like Rhodey. I haven't read every book he's been in, but I always enjoy when he's around, and I want to know more about him. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm also really looking forward to, because presumably we'll get to it, like sort of why Tony feels the need to compose a team and title it Force Works. What sort of statement is he making and that sort of thing. Because it
Hmm.
almost seems like, based on this issue, that Tony doesn't really want to make Force work. He kind of just wants to be done. So the idea that he goes on to form a team, um, about Force Works is like,
Oh, I'm
that's
sure we will
interesting.
litigate the title Force Works when it comes up.
I that's what I'm looking forward to. I want to get into because that's so provocative, right? We probably should have said this at the top of the hour to have a book called that, like Force Works. Like, yes, is it silly for sure, but it's also very like it's a statement, right?
Yeah.
Um, and I'd argue it comes
My
back a
stick is
little bit,
bigger than yours, and
yeah,
therefore
my
we're
stick.
cool.
Well, and it comes back around in Civil War a little bit, right? Like Tony is arguing for this very aggressive, like stance when it comes to crime fighting, and like also this very like legal uh, way. And we'll kind of get into that when we talk more about the show, since like it seems like in the show, Force Works are like proprietary of Stark Enterprises, and it's like
Ye- I
that's kind of
I
dystopian to
don't
think
know.
about,
I
right?
think so.
It's a little
I guess
dystopian to
they're
be
yeah,
like
they're I mean they're a corporate super team, sure, I'd
my
say that.
private super team, Force Works, like.
Um Not to foreshadow too much though, I think you really are touching on a lot of subjects that'll come up in the War Machine solo book actually.
I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. Um,
Um yeah. Well, I'm glad that we're happy now
yeah,
that we will have this as a tome to look back on, and when we're neck deep in the crossing,
yeah. Just in the crossing and all this '90s garbage. Feel like, ah,
you'll
remember
be
the
able to
Masters
look
of
back on
Silence?
us and remember when the light was still in our eyes, when we still had hope in our hearts.
Yes, that's beautiful. And I
Uh,
think with that, um, you want to bring this to a close? You reckon?
yeah, I I'm sure we'll have so much to talk about next
Yes,
time. I mean,
we'll
come
have
on,
so
even
much.
the cover, I'm gonna gush about
Yeah,
that.
we're gonna talk about War
That's for next
Machine.
time. That's for
Uh,
next time.
yeah. So join us next time where we talk about 282. Um, as always, do all the we'd really appreciate it if you did all the solos. Give us a like, comment, subscribe, whatever you want to do. Let us know if uh, what's your relation to Force Works? Did you watch the show at all? Have you read the book? Is this your first time hearing about Force Works? Are you concerned for our stability when we have to read The Crossing? Let us know. Uh, Godzilla, is there anything else you'd like to say to the audience before we wrap up?
Uh, Century's coming,
He
and it's gonna
is.
be less than 100 years. I'll tell you that.
Thank God. I couldn't wait that long. Need him pronto. Thanks for
Thank
joining
you,
us.
for letting me bully you. I think this is what's happening.
Bullying implies that I'm not that enthusiastic. I would say I'm a reasonable level of enthusiastic. Is that a
Well,
fair?
whatever this is,
Yeah.
I appreciate you letting me grab your podcast by the neck and just drag it
Uh,
through the mud.
I'm gonna make force work. Damn it! I'm gonna make force
Yeah.
work. Ah.
Anyways,
Bye bye for now. Join us next time. And as always, ask yourself the question, does force work?